Dudes and dudettes, how are you guys? This is Jazzy and welcome back to What's the Damage, and the very first concept vlog here in this new scenario of mine. I've been trying to make better content for you guys. When I tried this, the first 3 videos, it didn't really work out too well. There was a little bit of a bulb strobe lighting effect, but I think I'm on the right track with these ones right here, and also because it's What's the Damage, I complain about stuff and I get angry, and the intro has a red background. I'm wearing my favorite red shirt today. This really is my favorite shirt, because it makes me look all buff, Got the guns right here, guys, it's all tight, skin tight, makes me look all buff, Hey baby, check out the gun show going on over here. Boom, pow, firepower. But anyway, guys, look, today's topic is going to be something a little bit controversial. Actually, no, not too much, really not big of a deal. It's just my opinion, I'm going to be giving you guys a little bit of my own personal taste of this topic, You guys should know at this point that I'm a big fan of rock and heavy metal. I listen to a lot of bands. I have been doing a few videos talking about bands, Matter of fact, the next one also will be about that. And, in my opinion, it's really cool to talk about this because it's a way for me to put out my musical tastes, And even though it's just going to be a concept vlog, for the time being, not a lot of fancy editing, it's going to talk to you guys. I still hope you agree with me, and if you don't, let me know why in the comments below, okay? But here's the thing. Music is probably in terms of entertainment, it is the thing that most evolves over time, but at the same time that it evolves, it kind of stays the same, Like we obviously see a bigger evolution in video games and movies, the way they make them and they edit and whatnot, but music is the kind of thing that's always constant. But even though it seems the same, there is a very, very big evolution, in the way that they produce the music themselves, record them in studios, make the music videos, in correspondence. So in my opinion, they actually do look really good. They look really good. What? They actually sound really good, Music sounds much better today than it did back in the day. However, I think that the same problem as always that we have with generational gaps, every generation feels like their music is better than the music of the current generation, It's always going to be the same. Like, it's weird because I'm actually turning into an old man. I'm getting really cranky lately, especially about this because I defend my musical taste until the day I die, But the thing is that I can appreciate, back in the day, because I listen to rock, I can go way back and listen to bands from like the 60s, 70s, 80s, That my favorite classical band is Aerosmith, But I also jam to Kiss, also one of my favorites, Sometimes I jam to a little bit of Led Zeppelin, not too much though. I like Iron Maiden, who's from the 80s, a little bit of a heavier sound. AC/DC, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Judas Priest, So I can really get behind these bands from back in the days, and we have bands like Poison who created what's the name of the song? Looking for Nothing But a Good Time, one of the great rock anthems, So it's really cool to go back, and see the bands and the groups that influence the ones that we listen to today, Solo artists like Janis Joplin and Jimi Hendrix, There was also Jim Morrison from The Doors who became even though The Doors aren't really, they're not really one of my favorite bands, You can't deny the influence that the vocalist had, for his troubled life, and also the 27 Club, which I might record a video about later, But any rock stars joined that club, unfortunately. You climb into the 80s, you see a few different bands, it started to get a lot heavier. Now we had the thrash metal genre with the big 4, Metallica, Slayer, Anthrax, Megadeth. Then we had bands like Pantera, So it would start spawning a lot heavier sound, Glam metal was starting to become kind of like the craze then, And a lot of the bands embraced that. But when we climb into the 90s, that's where rock and metal start to get a little weird. I think that the 90s was a very bad place for rock music, because we were introduced to grunge, and then later the post-grunge movement, I didn't really like it too much, but hey, to each his own, alright? I'm not here to judge, but yeah, it sucked, man. You see, the thing with the 90s is that it was a dark place for a lot of things, movies and television series, Actually, that was pretty okay, but I don't know. I can't remember any notable movies from the 90s except for like Titanic, And everybody dressed weird. Everybody was ugly as hell. The music was strange. So the 90s was a weird place, But then again, I'm a 90s kid. I was born in 92, so I look at the 90s with nostalgia, although I do recognize that it was a bad place for a lot of things. Sports was pretty okay, But because I'm talking about rock and metal, who did we have in the 90s? We had Pearl Jam, who was a very big pioneer in the grunge genre, but then later we also had Nirvana, who really embraced both the grunge and the post-grunge movement, They kind of transitioned to mainstream alternative rock and hard rock sound, with their second album, Nevermind. And then Unfortunately, in '94, Kurt Cobain committed suicide, which was another, it kind of sent the rock world into a spiral because he was also 27, so he joined the club there, you know. But the thing is that as the years went by, a lot of other bands started to emerge, you know. There were a few strange ones like Nine Inch Nails, Alice in Chains. I'm not really a big fan of those, but like when we started to climb towards the late 90s and the early 2000s, that's when there was a resurgence because of bands like Slipknot, Linkin Park, you know, Deftones, Mudvayne. They were embracing the new metal genre, you know, which was mixing the old style of heavy metal and hard rock and infusing it with synthesizers, you know, sampling, DJ turntables, you know, different effects. So it kind of put a whole spin on the rock sound that we used to know and love, you know. So to me, it was actually really cool. It was a change that was very well embraced, in my opinion, you know. I think it was very nice. Even though some of the bands, you know, I didn't really sympathize too much with. Mudvayne was weird as hell, always was. They did a comeback show recently, just couldn't really get into them. We also had the Stone Temple Pilots, who started off in the 90s, you know, but there was a very strong mixture of bands, you know. And then the new wave of heavy metal saw bands like Avenged Sevenfold, Evanescence, you know. There was also Hailstorm, you know, both of which were backed by very strong women, you know, on vocals, Amy Lee and Lizzie Hale respectively. So I think that our generation now, if you happen to be around my age, you know, in your late 20s or early 30s, I actually think we have really good music, you know, and it's really nice, you know, what some of the bands are creating. There's a band called Greta Van Fleet, you know, that I do believe they released their first album in 2013, if I'm not mistaken, and they sound exactly like Led Zeppelin, dude, you know. It's almost like they're taking their inspiration directly from bands like them and Bon Jovi, you know. So it's really cool because it's kind of like they took the modern sound of rock and mixed it with something old and modern, old and classic, you know. So if you know where to look and if you look hard enough, you can still find bands in rock and metal that do reminisce the old days, you know. One of my favorite heavy metal bands is Motionless in White, who are really heavy, and you can kind of tell that they draw a lot of inspiration from bands like Iron Maiden, you know, those really they draw a lot from black and death metal as well, you know. There's a lot of inspiration there from those heavier sides of the spectrum. So it's good, man. It's a good sound. It's raw and gritty and scary sometimes, but it's good, you know. And so I think that there's really no way for you to define what is better and what is worse, you know, because I mean every generation has their own opinion, you know. We have our own music that we consume and listen to, and we love it anyway. So why can't you guys just give us a break, you know? I mean, rock and metal, man, it's always gonna be the same, you know. It changes over time, but at the same time it does still sound similar, you know. So it's one of those things that takes a long time to evolve, you know. So all we can do is just respect all the other different genres, you know, the generations, and get with the times, bro. Yeah. Now, what I hope you guys take away from this video, you know, the opinions that I'm giving out here, is that evolution is something that happens naturally, and certain things evolve differently than others. They evolve more slowly or faster, you know. So music is one of those things that you just have to understand is different. So if you, like, whatever your generation's music is, it's cool for you to like it, you know, but you shouldn't bash on the music of other generations, man, because it's always gonna change, you know. Like, if you grew up in the 70s and 80s, you saw some really awesome bands, man. You saw some really cool bands. I can definitely admit that, you know. There were bands like Deep Purple and Rush and U2, you know. I think U2 is a little more recent, but you guys get the point. You guys saw the Beatles, you saw the Rolling Stones, and a few other bands that I mentioned before. I understand that, but my generation also saw a lot of really great acts, man, you know, different genres, you know. One of the heavy metal juggernauts of my generation is Trivium, you know, and I love them a lot. I talked about just them in this video here, you know. Some of the bands that I mentioned, I did record videos about, and I will be doing others as well, but Trivium is the kind of band that they take the old style of the thrash metal in the 80s, you know, and they mix it with more pounding, you know, shredding guitar riffs, you know, 7-string guitars, and they kind of put them together to create a different kind of fusion of metal that we didn't see before back in the day, you know, and it can be appreciated, you know, and like, you have to understand that we now in this generation also have great bands that are good for our generation, man, you know. I mean, Linkin Park is to this generation what, you know, Aerosmith was back in the day to you guys, you know. Slipknot is to us today what Iron Maiden was back in the 80s for that generation, you know. So, like, instead of just trying to compare and imposing yours as better, why not listen to all of them and appreciate them, you know? Why not, if you were born in the 80s and you saw those music groups, why not listen listen to something today and give it a chance. You might actually like it. The same way that we of this generation can listen to and appreciate music from your generation, you know? That's how it works, man. And 10 years from now, 20, 30, there will be different kinds of music. There will continue to be bands and artists, you know, and it's gonna be the same crap. Everybody there is gonna think that their music is better than the generation of right now, you know? So just chill the hell out, guys, okay? Relax. Learn to respect other people's opinions, you know? Normally I wouldn't say this in hold on a second, I'm getting a call.
E aí, tranquilo? Sim, deixou. Eu botei ali dentro já. Não, por enquanto eu vou ficar por aqui. Eu nem sei ainda se eu vou sair. Eu tô esperando uma ligação, né, pra confirmar isso. Mas por enquanto eu tô por aqui. Ah, tranquilo. Ah, de boa. Eu abro aqui então pra ele. Nada, tranquilo.
Alrighty then, so basically what I'm trying to say here, I'm gonna wrap this up here already because it's been getting a little too long already. For a concept vlog, it's pretty long. So just like, even though this is a what's the damage video where I normally get angry and curse and rant and stuff, you know, jump up and down, I'm just, it's a very calm video where I'm just talking to you guys, you know, we're trying to respect people's opinions, so that's actually kind of funny. But anyway, guys, I think I'm gonna wrap this up here. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about this video, you know, and what you think about music acts today. There are some really great bands out there today, man. I've been listening a lot to Tethra, I don't know how to pronounce them, you know, they have just one album, but I love it so much. I believe it was released in 2019, and it's really cool. I like it a lot, so let me know in the comments below what you guys listen to, you know, what you're jamming to, you know. If you prefer metal, hard rock, alternative, indie, you know, there are a lot of indie bands that I didn't talk about, but I'm considering doing an entire video just about indie rock and the way that it kind of influenced different music genres that we listen to, so we're gonna see how that is, okay? For now, that's it, guys, okay? So let me know in the comments below what you think about this video, you know, and if you happen to like it, go ahead and give it a like, and also subscribe to my channel, please, because I release videos every single day for you guys. And while you're at it, might as well hit the notification bell to know exactly what time I upload. Why am I holding like this? Looks like a dick. And hit the notification bell to know exactly what time I upload because I do videos completely at no, wait, what? Hit the damn notification bell till you can know what time I upload because I upload completely at random multiple videos per day. Now at the end here I start to get angry like what's the damage? Okay guys, that's it for now, okay? This is Chazzy signing out for now because I gotta go run an errand for my neighbor here. That's what the call is about. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Roll the outro screen.